Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds. Hanging out with this nerd.
I'm Ted.
And today we have another GM 911 for you from Brandon. And he has the problem with his players that always want to take a long rest.
If you have a GM 911 and you'd like to submit it to us, you can send that to nerdarchy@gmail.com. Just put GM 911 in the subject, or you can submit it to the GM 911 section of our forums.
So these players, if they deplete any hit points, any spell slots, they want to long rest it.
Right.
Here's the problem. First of all, you can only do that once in a 24-hour period.
If you're playing 5th edition, you're absolutely correct. So the rules say every 24 hours you can only do one rest. So yeah, technically, all right, we get into a fight. All right, well, we got to take a long
whole
rest.
day.
So we're going to take the whole day, and they're on this campaign where they're supposed to be trying to go rescue this guy who's being tortured. Well, his question is, does he let the tortured guy die? Because they think, well, he's going to survive for as long as he needs to because we need to get there and save him. So my answer is a resounding yes. They have to learn, from their actions that, well, if time is pressing, you can't just be like, well, let's just chill here for another 22 hours.
Yeah, you got to punish them for when the clock's ticking and things need to be done. That they need to find a corpse when it comes to that NPC, or they have to fight his zombie or whatever.
Oh, nice.
And not only that too, like the way it's described is like I almost feel bad for the bad guys and the villains. I'm like, these guys should be getting like eviction notices. Like they're staying so long, they're like squatters at this point.
Well, he said at one point in time they locked themselves in a room, and they just they fought wave after wave after wave of things. So he's probably used more monsters than could have possibly been in the dungeon to try to encourage them to move on.
Yeah.
And they managed to fight it off and stave it off and say, nope, we're getting our long rest of it.
Well, here's the other thing too: is if they go into the dungeon and kill stuff, and you're doing a dungeon and then leave to recoup, I would repopulate the dungeon. Maybe not every time, but like enough to be like, well, you're not making any headway.
Yeah.
To kind of like teach them a lesson. And then again, he's done the things that you can do as far as he's given them a time limit. They ignored it, so there has to be a consequence, definitely. And even more so, not just the fact that the NPC is dead. Maybe negative. When they get back to town, they're ostracized. The people are jeering and booing them, and really they really get a bad reputation,
right?
For letting this person die.
Perhaps they're gonna have to go find a new town to adventure out of.
Yeah, maybe.
So point you brought up, if it sounded like they're camping in the dungeon itself at one point in time, but you had brought up that if they're leaving the dungeon and you would repopulate it, if they go in the dungeon, fight, leave, go in the dungeon, fight, go in the dungeon, leave. At that point in time, people are aware of what's going on. So
it should get harder.
Yeah, I will forget harder. It's going to get impossible. I'm going to put everything that I have prepared right there, and there's going to be.
It's going to be the first thing you encounter is everything.
Everything for what? So what? So you have your orcs, your goblins, your Adiog, and your big bad. Well, now what? It's all together. It's lying in ambush. You walk through that room. The traps go off. The spells go off, and crap's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, they take this planning and rest and recouping of resources to an unrealistic expectation that it's way out of control, and after a while it gets tedious.
Yeah, as a DM, it gets annoying because you're setting things up, and you had made mention, Brandon, that you had several smaller encounters lined up to soften them up so that the villain is designed, or the big bad of that dungeon is designed to be a challenge rather than a walk. Well, if they're always at max strength for every single fight, everything is going to be a walk for them.
The next dungeon, make all the rooms empty until they get to the end, and then put your monsters in there. I mean, I've seen players do stuff like this, and I don't see how it can really be fun, and it's not fun as a GM. Maybe change up the stories too that you're telling, so it's not just going into a dungeon where things are just happening, and if you don't keep up with them, they're going to go out of control, and you've gone down in the right direction by having an NPC that needs to be rescued. But you need to have a series of events that are going on, and they have to keep moving with them.
There has to
or
be
the
a
events will move beyond them.
Yeah, there has to be a timetable and penalties for those timetables not being met.
Or you could do things like where the dungeon moves and changes. So like if you stay in one spot, it could be a problem. It could be a problem that the spot's just not going to be there anymore. Or it could be the problem of you'll be trapped on the outside, or you'll trap somewhere else you don't want to be. So you might have to come up with some creative things like that. You can just talk to your players too and be like, hey, guys, this is really annoying. Can you stop? Like, it's not fun for me, and it makes me not want to run the game.
Right.
It's like, I set up challenges. I set up the game to be challenging to you, but not to kill you. It's this weird thing where you get players that feel like it's them against the DM, and you can get the other way around where the DM is the DM against the players, but it doesn't really make any sense in the big scheme of things, because technically as the DM, you can kill the players. It's not really that hard.
Right, yeah. You have access to all the things, and it's like, oh, okay, well, all right, if I want to make a monster that's going to kill the players, all right, it has a million hit points, it does 20 damage per swing, and it gets 5 attacks around. Okay, well, doesn't matter how many hit points of damage that they can do. They're not going to do 1,000,000 damage. So you're just going to crush things. And
it has the arrow slaying ability from the Solar.
Right.
Like as a DM, it's just not hard to kill characters if that's what you're looking to. But ultimately, we should be trying to tell stories together. So that's not the goal isn't to kill the characters. It happens sometimes. Sometimes the players and the characters make poor decisions. Sometimes it's just unlucky dice rolls.
Right.
Sometimes the players will do something intentionally that causes a character's death, but it's really cool for the story. So all of that can happen, and it's within the realm of the game. But it really shouldn't be you against the players.
Right. It's a combined story effort, and when people aren't having fun, it changes things. So if you as the DM are not enjoying the game, you need to convey that to them and say, look, guys, if you're going to keep this up, I'm just not going to run.
Role-playing encounters. Just throw role-playing after role-playing encounter and puzzle after puzzle at them. And be like, fine, you know what? I'm not going to use your resources. Keep your stinking resources. But go haggle with the fishmonger. He's got the fish you need. That's the herring.
All right, so if you have any suggestions for Brandon, you can put it down in the comments below. While you're at it, like, share, even subscribe.
You can support us in a financial way over on Patreon.
So until next time, stay nerdy.